कि पता नहीं मैं कितनी बार आ चुकी हूँ यहाँ पे, तीसरी चौथी बार JNU में मुझे रात को जगा के रखते हैं. I'd like to sleep at 9 o'clock, but this UIT stuff, I think we really need to, like, everyone needs to wake up, right? I mean, it's just gotten too late. Since 2010, we have been crying ourselves hoarse, saying this is a bad idea. This is, this idea कि आधार को PDS में लगा देने से, मध्याह्न भोजन में लगा देने से, या नरेगा में लगा देने से वो पूरी स्कीम बहुत अच्छे से चलने लग जाएगी, उसमें जो करप्शन है वो पूरा ख़त्म हो जाएगा. ये सब पोलाइट वर्ड फॉर बकवास है. और एक्चुअली इस प्रोजेक्ट के पीछे उनकी मंशा क्या है, वो ये है कि जो हम सब कुछ करते हैं वो उनकी नज़र में रहे. एंड you can say that actually, and you can, I mean it is true, that actually we are being surveilled and tracked already. I don't know if many of you followed the whole debate around Snowden's revelations. Did some of you see John Oliver's interview with Edward Snowden? Okay, so you have a sense of what I'm talking about. So basically why, I mean, when you're not talking about Aadhaar and welfare, people are talking about privacy and Aadhaar. And why is this privacy important? It's not some elitist concern. ये एक और चीज़ है, लोग बहुत बोलते रहते हैं कि हम तो उनके घर गए तो हमने राशन कार्ड मांगा तो वो तो अपने जॉब कार्ड भी ले आए और जन्म वो रजिस्ट्रेशन भी ले आए. They don't want to hide anything and all of that. But I don't think this line of argument at all. I don't buy it. कि अगर लोगों के पास अपने आप को articulate करने के लिए भाषा नहीं है to talk about privacy, that doesn't mean they don't care about privacy. People draw very clear lines about how much they will share with you, and it's true that sometimes with a stranger you may be happy to share much more than you would with your family or your friends, because friends फिर सब आपस में gossip करेंगे और ये कोई दिल्ली से बच्चे आए हैं सर्वे कर रहे हैं, उनको सब बताने में क्या है, ये तो चले जाएंगे. So there are all kinds of reasons why people may reveal much more to you than would seem, that you might be able to explain within your own understanding of what privacy is. But the reason why privacy is important, I think, is because if it is not guaranteed, it leads to self-censorship, that we will start altering our behaviors. I know for sure I am quite careful about what I write on WhatsApp and what I write on SMS, whether I save somebody's number on my phone or I don't save it, because अगर मुझे कोई journalist नया phone करता है और मैं उसका number save कर लेती हूँ, 3 दिन बाद Facebook में मुझे I'm being suggested this person as a friend, to be friend on Facebook, because Gmail, the phone is linked to my Gmail account, and somewhere, I mean, even though I don't use Facebook on my phone at all, Gmail is sharing my contacts with Facebook, so it all comes together. And so, there are all kinds of little ways in which we may self-censor our behavior. This is a trivial kind of example. And for me, it is super annoying. Like, I don't like to tell my mother what I'm doing and whether I'm leaving town or not leaving town. And it irritates me कि मैं नोखा जा रही हूँ तो मेरे phone मुझे कह रहा है कि राजस्थान में आपका स्वागत है या whatever it is. Yeah, so and basically they have the data mining capability now from all our little tiny bits of data to make sense of our lives. Yeah, and that's what's coming across from Snowden's revelations. So Xkeyscope, Prism, all these data mining tools that have been developed will allow somebody sitting somewhere to sift through these whatever zillions of gigabytes of data and put us on their watch list based on just some very random things. Yeah, so I may be connected to so now my phone knows that I've come to JNU. Yeah, and that information is being transmitted somewhere, and even that may become a watch mark for whoever's doing the sort of data screening and mining. So loss of privacy is of course annoying just because we value privacy. Different people have different thresholds, but it also matters because it affects our behavior. It may lead to self-censorship. And if it leads to self-censorship, then it has very serious implications for democratic practice in the country. Yeah, and already, I mean, I live in Delhi, right across the road, and I know all of you are familiar with other people who have come from IIT to JNU. But I've sort of over the past 2-3 years or even more, I've just become used to sort of to not hearing in Delhi very easily that you oppose the death penalty or that it might be alright to have a plebiscite in Kashmir. And at the beginning of February, I was invited to Xavier's और वहाँ पे मिला जुला सा पैनल था, बहुत लेफ्ट टाइप के लोग भी थे और 2 लॉयर्स थे, एक कॉर्पोरेट लॉ फाइनेंशियल सिक्योरिटीज उस तरह का लॉ करता है, and he just went up to the stage and he said, yeah, I mean, it's terrible that we have the death penalty and it's just disgusting that in the 21st century at 2 in the night the Supreme Court has to be open, you have to go and you have to beg for pardon for this person. And similarly, he very casually said, yeah, that there should be a plebiscite in Kashmir, and I was quite struck. I said, कि Delhi में, even though I think I move in relatively progressive circles, it's not that easy for people to say it openly, and God knows what consequences they'll face within a little while of saying that. So the self-censorship is very dangerous for good democratic practice, and that's why I think even if you have a low threshold in terms of how much you want to hide from other people, you should care about privacy, because presumably all of us care about good democracy and good democratic practice in the country. One other thing that people often say with respect to privacy is that I don't have anything to hide. तो उसमें कौन सी बड़ी चीज़ है? Apparently when the matter was mentioned in court last week, क्योंकि ये matter court में भी pending है, तो हमको hearing और bench constitute करवाने में बहुत दिक्कत हो रही है, क्योंकि वो केस तो 3 साल से चल रहा है और 2015 में अक्टूबर में कोर्ट ने कहा था हम इसको अर्जेंटली सुनेंगे और इसके लिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेंच बैठाया जाएगा, लेकिन अब उनका वो अर्जेंटली अभी तक हुआ नहीं है. अभी 17 शुरू हो गई है, तो खैर नहीं. पिछले हफ्ते जो लॉयर है उन्होंने मेंशन किया, पिछले हफ्ते नहीं, जब जनवरी में उन्होंने मेंशन किया, तो जस्टिस केहर ने बोला तो उसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है अगर स्टेट को पता है कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. So the matter was just brushed aside. But anyway, now there is some hope that the court case will also, the hearings will start, because last week he was assured again that the bench will be constituted and he will check with Justice Chalmeshwar about his availability. So that's the background. Now, normally what I speak about is Aadhaar and welfare. This is how I got interested, क्योंकि मुझे क्या लेना देना प्राइवेसी से, मुझे खुद ही इतना कुछ मैंने सोचा नहीं था इसके बारे में. But in 2009, when the whole project started, the 2 or 3 people from UIDAI, they came to see me and they said, Ritika, you work on NREGA and TDS, और उन दोनों programs के लिए ये तो बहुत बढ़िया चीज़ है और तुम ऐसे करोगे तो ऐसे हो जाएगा और ऐसे करोगे तो ऐसे हो गया. So we had a discussion and actually I figured very quickly कि इनको इतना पता है कि दोनों program में corruption है, which is true. लेकिन इनको ये नहीं पता कि करप्शन किस तरह से हो रही है. So the terms we now use is identity fraud and quantity fraud. Identity fraud is अगर दीपा जाके वहाँ पे कह रही है कि ये मैं रितिका हूँ और रितिका का राशन मुझे दे दो इस हफ्ते, so she may take my ration card somehow and get my ration. That's identity fraud. Quantity fraud is दीपा जाती है वहाँ पे और अपना राशन मांगती है, तो उसको 25 किलो देने के बजाय उसको 22 किलो दे रहे हैं या 20 किलो दे रहे हैं या 10 किलो दे रहे हैं. तो अब जो आइडेंटिटी फ्रॉड है उसमें बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन का कुछ मतलब बनता है, क्योंकि अब दीपा अगर वहाँ जाएगी और अपना अंगूठा लगाएगी तो वो मशीन रिजेक्ट कर देगी, बोलेगी कि तो दीपा है नहीं. लेकिन क्वांटिटी फ्रॉड में इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, because Deepa will go there, she will put her thumbprint, machine will authenticate and the dealer will say जो करना है कर ले, मैं तो दूंगा तुझे 20 किलो, तो जहाँ जाके कंप्लेन करनी है कर ले. So unless you have good grievance redressal mechanisms to fix the the asymmetry of power between the dealer and Deepa, biometric authentication is going to do nothing for you. Yeah? So the real solution is fixing that asymmetric power relation, and that you can do without Aadhaar. And a lot of states have done it. But the propaganda that the UIDAI was able to do so successfully is that in anyone's mind, you shake them in their deepest slumber and you say Aadhaar, they will say PDS or Narega ke liye ye badh jayega. And somehow these very simple things, yeah, very simple points are not, the penny is just not dropping, and I don't understand. Yesterday, Mihir Sharma, who I think is a very smart journalist, he wrote a piece against this Aadhaar linking with the midday meal, and it's complete nonsense. I was so sad. I was like, तुम्हारे जैसा आदमी अगर थोड़ा सा भी होमवर्क नहीं कर सकता और थोड़ा भी इस डिबेट पे पढ़ नहीं रहा है, तो हम किससे उम्मीद कर सकते हैं? अगर वो कम से कम दिमाग लगाता है, अगर उसका मन करे तो वो दिमाग लगाएगा. I should not say, I feel bad कि वो है नहीं, तो it's better to say it to his face rather than say it behind his back. But maybe I'll write him an email also now that I'm bad-mouthing him. So this is one very simple point. Now in the PDS and NREJ, identity fraud है. ऐसे नहीं है कि identity fraud नहीं है, लेकिन identity fraud कितना है वो कोई हमको नहीं बता पाया. So this is my other pet peeve कि जब हम बोलते हैं maternity entitlements लागू करो तो बोलेंगे कि where is the evidence? Show us that this is good. Show us that giving money to the mother during her pregnancy is going to reduce nutrition rates and also going to increase the education levels of the third generation. Yeah? So the standards that are set for us when we ask for money for any of these programs are very different from the standards that are being applied to them. In their case, what is it? In imagining, what is it called? His first book, Nandan Nilekani's first book? Imagining India, right? There is, I didn't read the book. Even looking at the cover is a bit unnerving. It's got his face on it. But I read Idhar Udhar, and where is this identity from? I went to dinner one day, and somebody told me at the dinner party that the number of ration cards in circulation, sorry, I'm putting on this accent as if he speaks like that, I have no clue how he speaks, but the number of ration cards in circulation in Karnataka are more than the number of households in Karnataka. So now that, just that number, a conversation at a dinner party without any check, yeah, this is something very easy to check, an undergraduate student can do it, without any data, then becomes something that everyone regurgitates. Oh, the number of ration cards in Karnataka, I got it so many times. So there is no reliable data on how large the problem of identity fraud is, but we do know that quality fraud is a very serious issue, and we have pretty good estimates of that. Similarly, in NREJ, when bank payments came, it became very difficult to siphon off money in other people's names because the money used to go into people's accounts. So, अगर वो मेरे खाते में पैसा आ रहा है, so either they have to collude with me or they have to become extortionists. अगर मैंने 10 दिन काम किया और उन्होंने 100 दिन के पैसे डाल दिए, तो या तो वो बैंक के बाहर लाठी लेके खड़े हो जाए कि भाई तूने तो 2 दिन या 10 दिन काम किया, बाकी के पैसे हमें दे दो, या वो मुझे बोलेंगे कि यार रितिका से पंगा नहीं लेना है तो हमारी टांगे तोड़ देगी. तो इसको बोलते हैं तू 10 दिन भी काम मत कर, घर पे बैठी रहे, और जब 100 दिन का पैसा आएगा तो 30 दिन तू रख लेना, 30 दिन मैं रख लूँगा, 30 दिन उसको दे देंगे. हाँ, सो इन दिस सिचुएशन कैन बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन हेल्प? It just cannot, because if you are an extortionist and I am Bichari Ritika who works 10 days but gets 100 days, I'll go there, I'll authenticate myself, I get my cash, I come out and you stand there with your lathi and you snatch the money away. If you're colluding with me, same story, I'll skip to the bank because अब तो मुझे 10 दिन काम भी नहीं करना पड़ता है और मैं अपने पैसे निकाल के बाहर आऊँगी और आपस में हम लोग शेयर कर लेंगे. उसमें बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन का कोई रोल नहीं है. So आइडेंटिटी फ्रॉड में थोड़ी बहुत मदद कर सकता है. आइडेंटिटी फ्रॉड को रोकने के 1000 और तरीके हैं, लेकिन उसके बारे में हम कोई बात नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि हम बिल्कुल टेक्नो यूटोपिक, I learned this word recently, so I like to use it once in a while. It sounds cool. So this whole techno utopia, I don't know if you've been following, some of you have been following these debates. There's a man called Evgeny Morozov who writes writes about techno-utopia. So I'm not just being a bit silly because I'm very tired. But it is a legitimate academic word coming with all the heavy boots of academia. It is a very serious problem. I mean, I certainly in my institute, a lot of people who are supposed to have scientific temper, believe in logic, they are blinded by technology to some, in varying degrees obviously. So if there is a simple solution, we don't like it. It has to be cool and technology driven. Only then will we like go all out for it. So that's as far as these programs are concerned. All I'm trying to say is that in welfare, the role for Aadhaar is very, very limited. Whatever little benefits it could have brought, there are 10 other ways of doing it, if not 100 other ways of doing it. Ultimately, what matters is political will. If you have the political will to do it, then even with just paper-based coupons, you can fix the PDS. Yeah? And there is a lot of evidence on this now. All the reduction that we have seen in PDS leakages has happened in the 2004 to 2011-12 phase, which is the pre-Aadhaar phase. Leakage rates have gone in Bihar from 90% to 20%, in Chhattisgarh from 50% to 10%, in Odisha from 75% to 20%, and all of this because the states have figured out how to fix the PDS with simple use of technology. I'm not anti-technology, that's another thing you get all the time, right? If you question Aadhaar, that means you're questioning every other form of technology also. This tendency to speak in binaries is also pretty annoying. So in welfare, very limited role, but very successful propaganda, as a result of which even well-meaning people and smart people like Mihir Sharma are not able to get that this is actually not going to help very much. And what we have seen so far, first NREG was linked to Aadhaar and the program has suffered hugely. After that, PTS and pensions were linked to Aadhaar, and again there has been a huge problem. Old women who have never been outside their village, of course it's great that they get an opportunity to go outside their village, but they are now being told your pensions won't be delivered to your village and you have to go to the nearest bank, and they don't know how to get there because a lot of these areas don't have public transport. So then they have to start looking at their grandson or son or somebody to take them. I wish I could show you these videos, but I can send you links if you're interested. They're available on YouTube. She's saying she has to look at her pota, and she says, "Aajkal godi mein kaun le jata hai?" She's used to that old zamana ki wo peeth pe utha ke leke jayega. So she says, "मैं बाइक पे जाती हूँ." तो she said, "बाइक पे तो मेरा दिल घबराता है क्योंकि बाइक पे चढ़ना ही बहुत मुश्किल है। अभी हम तो मजे से चढ़ जाते हैं, तो बूढ़ों के लिए चलना मुश्किल है, बाइक पे बैठ के जाना is very scary." And anyway, somehow they are managing, and then the whole point of these pensions was to give economic independence to these women, and now they've become completely dependent on their families to withdraw the pension. So it's great that they go on a bike, but kind of giggles at the end when she's talking about her bike experience, which kind of makes you think, okay, maybe she likes it in the end, the whole trip. But the fact is that she feels obliged to share the money with her grandchild or whoever it is who has taken her in that particular month. And so she's lost some of that freedom or independence that she had before. Now, then after that, they want to bring it to midday meals, which is complete nonsense, and I'll leave that to Deepa to talk about. So, I mean, I've said all these things before, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, perhaps are aware of the arguments as well. I feel that it would be really nice if people could come up with ideas for what we could do right now, because if we don't do it now, it's like Loha Garam hai kind of moment, because I think a lot of people are very angry about, like even very unlikely people are very unhappy about this Aadhaar linkage. The other thing that's helping us is that पहले it was all the गरीब लोग जो हमको कभी दिखते नहीं हैं, हाँ गांव में बैठे हुए हैं, उनके पीडीएस के लिए कंपलसरी हो गया, उनके राशन के नरेगा के लिए कंपलसरी हो गया, पेंशन के लिए हो गया। अब ये हो रहा है कि जेएनयू में पढ़ने वाले बच्चों के लिए स्कॉलरशिप के लिए कंपलसरी हो रहा है। हमें भी ऑर्डर आ गया आईआईटी में कि भाई सैलरी के लिए कंसोलिडेटेड फंड ऑफ इंडिया से आती है, तो अब अपना आधार नंबर दो। Yesterday, some journalist tweeted that for journalists to get their CGHS benefits from the central government, it's become compulsory. So I'm giggling because I'm very happy, because I feel now people will wake up, and it's only when privileged and slightly better off people start feeling the pinch and begin to understand that the same number is being seeded into very many different databases. So sorry, I didn't talk about this. How does Aadhaar facilitate surveillance? At the moment, my life is stored in many different data silos. Some are public, some are private. Yeah, so there is my Airtel number wala data silo, there is online purchase data silo, there is air booking data silo, there is IRCTC data silo, there is my banking account, there is my record at IIT Delhi. If all of these are unconnected databases, yeah. The minute you start seeding the same number into every single database, you're creating a bridge across different aspects of my life, and that's where Big Brother comes in. Yeah, so if I make a railway booking from Delhi to Garhwa, and in Garhwa I use my debit card to withdraw money, and then I hire a taxi, and I go with my smartphone to Mawada, and from there, someone sitting in the raw office will say, Ritika is a Naxal. वो पूरा गढ़वा और महुआ डांड तो नक्सलियों का गढ़ है, और वो पैसे निकाल के उनको पैसे देने जा रही है. In fact, I'm going there to do data work. I'm going there to accompany Rashi, who was sitting somewhere who I can't see now, because our team is doing data collection there, so I'm visiting. So you can build a completely different profile of a person, and we see profiling all the time. Yeah? If you wear a particular type of cap, if you have a particular type of beard, if your pajama is too long, if you wear a turban, you will be branded. There was in the 80s, all turban people were terrorists, and now all bearded people are terrorists. So this profiling based on ridiculous things is a very common thing, and one day we'll also get fuss out in this thing unless we wake up and think about what to do. Finally, I don't know how long I've already spoken, but finally, I mean, thinking about what to do, I don't know. I mean, I come to JNU and I talk about these things, but I don't know why I do it, because it's good that everyone becomes aware of these problems, but I think ultimately थोड़ा हाथ पैर मारना पड़ेगा, and I know आप लोग काफी हाथ पैर आजकल वैसे ही मार रहे हो, but I have to say that this is my little grudge, and I can talk about my little grudge. I've stopped signing petitions now for Ramjas, JNU, and like हमारे जो मुद्दे होते हैं ये राशिद और PTS, तो ये लोग तो कभी चू नहीं करते, ना तो वो Facebook पे शेयर करते हैं, ना Twitter पे शेयर करते हैं, तो हम क्यों इनके लिए जान मार रहे हैं? But anyway, so I feel थोड़ा बहुत अपना कुकून से, I mean, I'm not undermining your the bad phase that you're going through. It's pretty bad, I understand that. But I really do feel that it's very easy to slip into a bubble. Today I had two of my students are here, and I'm going to use this example. So they just did a survey of Mohalla clinics, and they were designing a questionnaire. The course is about doing field work, etc. And in the questionnaire, there's one question on income and the other one is on education levels. And जो इनका एजुकेशन वाले कोड्स थे, इन दोनों ने नहीं किया, किसी और ने किया था, पर जो उनके कोड्स थे ना, उसमें क्या था, क्लास 10 कंप्लीट, दैट्स द मिनिमम लेवल. हाँ, फिर उसके बाद 12वीं, फिर BA, फिर MA, फिर PhD. ये दिल्ली में मोहल्ला क्लिनिक का सर्वे करने जा रहे हैं, और उनकी कंसेप्शन में ये है ही नहीं कि एक्चुअली 30% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन इज illiterate or pretty close to illiterate. And similarly, the income brackets, the lowest was 2.5 lakh rupees per annum. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's very easy to. I mean, I'm sure it's true of me as well, because I spend most of my time in Delhi now. But if people have ideas of how being in Delhi and being involved in all your daily struggles of trying to study and keep some sanity on campus, it would be nice if you could think about what could be done. So we have some students who help us on Twitter, and there's another one, she's designing posters now. So you know that Balak, ideal Balak, हाँ, तो वो उसमें हर पैनल का हर इसमें आधार का लोगो डाल के उसको बदल रही है, ताकि लोगों को थोड़ा समझ आए कि आप जहाँ भी जाओगे आपके पीछे आधार आएगा. So there are all kinds of ways in which one can contribute, and if you could all think about it together,